Which is why the CIA was interested in this. And I'll ask you a question. You were telling me about your truck. You registered it the other day.
Exactly.
How much did that cost?
Well, last year my truck cost, because I own a small fleet, so one of our trucks, the registration for 2010 came in. Last year we had paid $485 for that truck, and we just got our new registration for 2010, and they're asking, the city and county asking $585 for the same truck, which for me, that's too abusive.
Right.
They're being cheated because they never told us that they're going to charge us 20% of what we paid last year. Where is that $100 going?
Yeah.
And what's unfortunate is that, you know, as a business owner like Marissa is, you know, that increase in fees to register her trucks, what does she have to do as a business owner? She's going to have to pass those costs off to the consumer, because in order for her to stay in business, to meet her payroll, keep her employees employed, she's going to have to pass that extra cost somehow off to the consumer to have to pay.
Even if she takes the entire cost on herself, what she won't have available is an opportunity to purchase another truck,
Exactly.
to register another truck, to hire someone else, and to
just
grow
too
her business.
expensive.
And now we're wondering why our economy is suffering, why it's not growing at the pace it needs to grow.
overtaxed.
Here's an answer.
A lot
And
of-
that was only the $100 on the registration. She's paying more for gas because of the barrel tax,
Tax, yeah.
right? And each of her employees is paying more when they're trying to eat or go to work. Her home, her business is now worth less if she tries to sell it.
That's right.
It just, at every level, they hide a little bit here so that they can take a large sum of money from the people on this
It's
island.
just too many layers of taxes, because
Correct.
same thing with the unemployment tax. Look at what they did. We used to pay $90 a year per employee. They made it, what, $660 a year per employee?
And that's a perfect thing to talk about.
Government will come, not gonna come and help you. You gotta do it on your own. And I did that. I did exactly what God told me to do. Follow your dreams. I don't have a dream to be a politician, but I'm gonna go for it.
Because what ends up happening is that now businesses, instead of growing, they see each new additional employee that they bring on as not somebody who's going to be innovative and productive. They see them as an extra expense that they're going to have to pass their profits off to, or their money, to the government to have to take care of. And it's the wrong kind of business attitude. It's the wrong type. It's just bad business.
I remember
it's
you
extremely
getting involved.
discouraging.
You got involved. Now it's coming to me. When you took the podium a little over a year ago, there was a proposed tax for the highways. This Governor Lingle's administration has improved the harbors and the airports and wanted to get to the highways. Well, that was going to mean, the governor said, well, if there's 2 consecutive quarters of revenue in the plus, we're just going to have to get somewhere around $0.10 a gallon more we're $4 billion short in roadways. We need $4 billion just to fix the potholes, get the bridges repaired. And the only way to do that, and I remember you now coming out and saying, I got something in the mail from Rep. Kym Pine. I've been following this too, but she's kind of poked me here.
This is why I'm here. I'm not a habitually, like, out in the front, out in public sort of guy, but at some point, especially for people like me who look at it and actually see what's going on, you know, I don't just, after this time, turn my mind off and quit looking at things and breaking them down. So now I see it. I see not only that the money's being taken, but it's being taken in a dishonest manner. Nobody here has the opportunity to object to the amount of money that's being taken because they don't know how much money is being taken from them.
And it's not the public's fault.
No.
You know, because a lot of people that I've gone around and spoken to, you know, I've asked them, do you think taxes in this state are too high or too low? And for the people who said, well, I think they're too low, we could probably pay more. And I said, well, what taxes do you think are really low? And they're like, well, that, you know, our sales tax is only 4%. And that's where we get into the discussion about the general excise tax and what it really taxes on the multiple levels, how regressive it is. And you start talking to people and they start, really, I didn't know that.
And we need to carry that momentum into the regular election on November the 2nd. There is a wave of change coming across.
You know, and it's that type of public awareness that we're trying to bring out, and that's what brought us out to the forefront to start really actually taking action against
Because
this.
there's people like us.
But if we want the change that we desire, we have got to stick together.
Because we own a business, or because we're at the legislature, or because you're an analyst or I'm an analyst who do see these things. And that's, you know, other people they're too busy living a life, a normal life. You've got
raising their
kids, you've got school, you've got
kids,
a
yeah.
job. Who else, I mean, who has the time to look at these things? You know, unless it's someone like us. And at some point, we get tired of sitting and complaining and yelling at our radio And eventually, it's time, not eventually, now is the time to step up and do something with it, and the time to make people aware of what's going on.
You need a tax holiday.
Yeah, holiday at the very least. Yeah,
Exactly.
but I mean, like Marissa shared, we've talked about this. These are just little things. The taxes on your dry cleaning went up. Really?
Did people
Okay,
know
the
that?
taxes on the dry cleaning, on your gas, on your milk, on your car when you register it. Every little spot, one at a time, drop by drop. And now people are wondering why, gee, I'm making, $500 a week, $1,000 a week. Why can't I pay my rent and the groceries without my wife working 2 other jobs and neither of us seeing our children, and everybody going, now we're paying for daycare, only that's more expensive too. And you get to the end of the month and you're like, wow, my money's out and I still have bills, and you want to know how it happened. Because you can't figure out why. Wow, $1,000 a week, this should have been easy, but it didn't work out that way. Well, I'm telling you, there's a reason. It's because they hid that money. They took it from you one little bit at a time all month. That's why the math doesn't work out, and it's not.
To me, it's the government
consumer.
principle is completely outrageous. They changed the way they run the business up in our government, because you have to figure out, when you run a department, you have to use your revenue, not your budget. Even though your budget is, low or high, you got to figure out whatever revenue you get, you have to pretty much allocate what revenue goes, which is the best need to use for that revenue. You don't just, scatter it with stuff that we don't really need, all those unnecessary things that people doesn't need to run our business in our government.
Right,
That's the problem. The budget, they can budget whatever they want, but the revenue is too small. They can't run it that way.
And real quick, the big thing about you and your business is that you are using your money and you're spending it on yourself. Therefore, you have the incentive to get the best bang for your buck in everything that you can do, so you can continue on with your business, make your payroll, and whatever residual income you have off of that, you can use that either for yourself or to grow your business or hire more people. In the government, it's the exact contrary. You're taking somebody else's money and they're spending it on somebody else. Okay, therefore the incentive isn't there to do things efficiently or to do things for the maximum bang for your buck. And that's not a government problem, that's just a people problem. And that's why a lot of these services that you're talking about, where people have these budgets, they don't get allocated as efficiently or effectively as they should.
Right. Well, and then another thing that's frustrating to me is that they'll talk about people like Marissa who are working and wanting to use their money in order to grow their business, in order to increase things. And there's a lot of good things to come from that. And then the immediate counter is like, wow, that's just greed. No, it really isn't. And it isn't just for her. The other thing that happens here that people don't like to talk about is if she is greedy, or if she is inefficient, or if she makes mistakes, it'll be her and her company.
Exactly.
But it won't be the entire state. It won't be all of us who had the money taken away from us who are paying for that now. It'll be the person who got greedy, the person who broke the law, the person who mismanaged their company.
Right.
They're the ones. So it works both ways. It also helps the rest of us if we don't have money being taken from everybody in the state and then squandered.
Is there a solution to this? And I always maintain that it's every 2, 4, and 6 years. We have got to get to the ballot box.
The death tax, the estate tax, you mentioned earlier, penalized for succeeding, trying to keep you from expanding your growth and offering someone a job. So Rep. Pine argued,
the death tax falls hardest on those who maintain a family business, often forcing family business owners to sell the business in order to pay the tax.
your assets that you've accumulated and paid tax on all your life.
Hence, Joe has been taxed 3 separate times on the same dollar. Once when he earned it, again when he invested it, and later sold the investment, and then once again when he died. Is it right for Uncle Sam to nail Joe 3 separate times on the same dollar?
Excuse me, Representative Pine.
Yeah.
So the more that you as business
Can't grow.
entrepreneurs become more successful, the message that Hawaii is sending out, and let's talk about West Oahu, CT&T, South Korean company to build electric car plant in our town.
Yep.
This is a foreign investor.
Coming in.
Signing ceremony with the governor took place. That tax did not exist on him and his family. I wonder if he knows that now that he's coming to, in the next 18, 24 months, to get this plant started up, What a message to send for foreign investors to come to Hawaii.
Or let's bring it home here right now. I mean, a lot of people are like, well, that seems like a small thing. It seems like a little thing. Well, there's an accumulation. This is how it's always done.